What is a smoke in Valorant? A smoke in Valorant is a non-collidable, deployable piece of utility that blocks off an area of the map for an extended period of time. The 6 agents that have smokes include Brimstone, Astra, Cypher, Jet, Omen, and Viper. And for the purpose of this video, Viper Wall, Viper Ult, and Astra Ult will not be mentioned because they are a unique type of smoke. Smokes can generally be broken down into 4 main categories: hollow, long, solid, and short. For now, the first one I'll be talking about will be the hollow smokes. These will be the smokes that have no fog effect on the inside. So Omen smokes, Astra smokes, and the Cypher cage all count as hollow. Next up on the list will be the solid smokes, and these will be the smokes that do have a fog effect on the inside. So these will include Jet smokes, Brim smokes, and the Viper smokes.
Now you don't technically need to know the difference between these, except that hollow smokes are more likely to have someone hiding inside them than a solid smoke.
Now I'm gonna move on to the long smokes, and these will be the smokes that last long enough for a site execute, so around 10 seconds or longer in length. This category will include Omen smokes, Viper smokes, Astra smokes, and the Brimstone smokes. Now finally, I'll talk about the short smokes, and these will be the ones that do not last long enough for a site execute, so less than 10 seconds. So these will include the Jet smokes, the Cypher cage, and the Astra retract. As a general rule, the more flush a smoke is with its walls, the harder it is for an enemy to play with. If a smoke is more outwards than intended, then an enemy could walk around it and isolate off certain angles, or drop down to different heights that you did not expect. A good smoke is one that is flush with its walls so that if an enemy were to try to peek out, they'll be exposed to as many angles as possible. Now with that stuff out of the way, attack smokes. Attack smoke number 1, the exec smokes. These will be the long smokes that cut off the common safe defender angles, which will usually be a CT spawn and an alternative route to CT spawn. These smokes will be used so that you and your team are able to scale up onto a site without having to be worried from getting shot from off-site. Due to the nature of these being long smokes, by the time these smokes run out, you will probably already have the spike planted and be set up in the post-plant positions. Attack smoke number 2, the entry smokes. These will be the short smokes that are used to get onto the site by the entry or second entry to get out of a certain choke point. You'll see this all the time mainly by Jet players where they smoke and dash out of a certain spot to get onto the site. The goal of these smokes is to make a distraction towards the enemy team, since once you're crossing inside of these smokes, the enemies can't actually pinpoint where you are. The smoke then creates a threat to that enemy. Will you come out of the smoke and kill them, or will your team coming from the main choke point kill them? Attack smoke number 3, the lurk smoke. This is where you put a long smoke at the start of an entranceway to a site. It gives your team control of that passageway, and defenders are unlikely to try to push it. You could use this smoke to grab the ult orb that is usually sitting around there, but a lot of times it's used to listen in on the enemy rotations. As seen here, the radius in which you can hear the enemies run away from the site is pretty large. This also makes it so if the defenders are aware of a lurk, they have to walk off of sites, which gives your team more time. Attack smoke number 4, rush smokes. These will be long smokes that are used to literally just get the plant down and get out of there. These are literally the worst types of smokes you could do on attack, but if you are really desperate for money, your team really needs it badly, just go for this plant. You place these in spots where you can just get out of the choke point, get to the site, plant, and leave for post plant. Just remember, this is all for $300 extra for a plant. It's barely even worth it. So please just don't do this often. Defense smokes. Defense smokes number 1, delay smokes. As the name implies, these will be smokes placed at the start of an entranceway to a site that makes it so that attackers will be more hesitant into attacking that site. Remember, smokes aren't walls. Attackers could still try to rush through your smoke, but it's better than no defense at all. This is just to make it so that you have more time for your team to rotate if needed. These can usually be used at like any time in a round. It can be used early on if you hear a rush coming, or you can use it later on if there's low time and the attackers have to choose a site. Defense smokes number 2, the aggro smokes. These will be the long smokes that will be placed deeper towards the main entrance of a site. You use these so that you are able to push up closer to the enemies or to give the threat that you could push up to them. This is especially useful for places like splits A ramp or binds A showers where you need one more point to get your ult. Defense smokes number 3, retake smokes. These will be long smokes that block off the safe post plant angles. These will usually be the 2 main entrances to the site or the alternative CT route that I mentioned earlier. But to generalize it, it'll be the spots that the spike is planted for. Note, if you are low in smokes, you have the option of either smoking off a sight line that watches the spike or to smoke off the spike itself. Defense smokes number 4, threat smokes. This is the most general smoke that I could think of. It has no specific placement except somewhere on a site. So what you do is just put a smoke at your feet and sit inside of it. Congrats, you are now a threat to the attackers. You could pop out of your smoke and try to kill an attacker or wait for your team to come in. The attackers can either spam you down or walk through your smoke, both being bad options. Defense smokes number 5, control smokes. These will be any kind of smoke that makes it harder for the attackers to scale up onto the site. So what you do is simply smoke half of the site off. It gives you, the defenders, the entire back site to play with. Defense smokes number 6, one-way smokes. These will be the smokes that are placed above ground level that helps you see the enemy's toes. Once you see the enemy's toes, you need to resist the urges to shoot them and instead try to shoot where you think their head is. So what this does is takes the idea of angle advantage but puts it onto a vertical playing field instead of a horizontal one. It also uses the fact that the head is above the feet. A one-way that is way closer to the enemy than it is to you is a good one-way smoke. Neutral smokes. Neutral smoke 1, escape smokes. These will be short smokes that will help to get you out of any sort of sticky situation. Whether it be you're a brain-dead jet player who walks out into the open, or just someone who found themselves in a really weird spot. Since these are short smokes, they're not that important to hold on to. Neutral smokes 2, a cross smoke. These types of smokes are the long smokes that help you to just move around the map with safety. These will typically be used around the middle area of a map if there is one. This is because the middle area of the map is the fastest way to rotate from one side of the map to the other. Note, any cross smoke benefits and doesn't benefit both defenders and attackers, since both sides can't see if anyone is rotating. I don't know if this was a good or guide or anything. If it was helpful, maybe like it, subscribe, stuff like that. But I didn't have a script written at all or anything. I just have a notepad up on my other monitor trying to describe all the smokes that I could think of and see if I could explain why you should use them, how you should use them, when to use them, like where to use them, all that stuff. You know, I don't actually play smokes myself, but like these were the smokes that I kind of want people to have in the back of their heads so they can at least think about these more often. Specifically, the more obscure smoke use types, like the threat smoke, where you just sit on the site. Like I think I saw Nitro use it a while ago in on Ascent, but like yeah, it's not that often you'll see it being used. The best way to learn what to smoke and like how to smoke is to actually play the characters yourself or watch actual pros play the characters you want to learn. Any constructive criticism on how to make better guides sort of like this, where I take generalized concepts and stuff, will be greatly appreciated. And also, if you made it this far into the video, thanks for watching. Oh my god. I can stop.